everyone, it's Tani Games here. Welcome back to the channel. We're back with another speed build in Disney Dreamlight Valley. Yes, she's finally got back on the game. I finally decided to do a speed build for this house skin we got in the premium store. I do really like this house. It's nice to have something that feels very, I was gonna say normal, but that sounds weird. Just something that really feels like kind of like it could fit into the real world, I guess. Like obviously a lot of the house skins we get are fantastic. We get some beautiful kind of like palaces, like we get the Corona Castle and you know, things like that, things that are tied in very much to Disney. So it's nice to get a house skin that just kind of looks like it could be any regular person's home, if that makes sense. So that's kind of what I wanted to go with in terms of vibes here. Very typical, very standard, probably a bit Americanized, I would say. I mean, I would say this house kind of feels a bit more typically American, I would say, than British in a sense. I don't know what it is. Something about it just feels a bit more, you know, it feels like the Home Alone house. Also, I don't think it's getting picked up on the mic, but my cat has just decided to go on a mad one behind me. So if you hear him or anything sounding like it's being scuttled about or chaotic, then that's just my cat, so just ignore him. But yeah, in terms of this house and speed build, I wanted something that just felt like a regular family home, effectively. So we do end up putting in like almost like a kind of like a play area for the kids that you would have. Like I remember growing up and I'd have like an outdoor swing and slide set, so I really wanted to kind of emulate that, but I did also want to kind of make it feel special. So we do end up putting like this kind of grand fountain out in the front as well a bit later on, just to kind of add that bit of elegance to it, I guess. I just thought that would be a really good idea. You will have noticed a cut where I placed a bunch of items sort of outside. A lot of that is to do with my I was very nervous about everything getting undone kind of thing after my Christmas Town market build kind of falling apart and everything getting erased. I kind of did some bits in stages, if that makes sense, because I was a bit worried about losing all my progress and the work that I did. So there was a bit of a jump cut there when I was trying to drag items out, because I was worried that if I stayed entirely in the furniture mode, everything was going to get undone. I did pull out a couple of gazebos because I thought that I might want to utilize them, but these gazebos are fairly big. Marty, I'm so sorry. The gazebos are fairly big to in comparison to the house, so I didn't feel like they fit in quite right, so I do end up removing those. But it would be kind of nice maybe if we had like a mini gazebo, just something that we could kind of like pair with home builds like this. Like, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love and adore these gazebos and I think they have their place, and I definitely do like them. I don't know if the new gazebo that you can get in the Scrooge store is of a smaller size or not, but I do feel like it'd be cute to have quite a very small and compact one, like maybe something that you wouldn't necessarily put a lot of decor items under, but just something just to create a bit of shelter kind of thing to add on to a house build. I think that would be kind of fun to have. I do also add in a little kind of like dog kennel, because again I was kind of thinking, you know, how the typical traditional I don't know, like American family might be displayed, you know, 2 kids, a dog, and you know, that kind of vibe. So I do put that in as well, and also a little kind of like cute little not dining table set, but table and chair set, just because I felt like that would feel kind of typical to have, would be like a table and chairs in the garden for whenever they want to enjoy the summer and stuff like that. So whilst, even though this build is set up like a bit like a wintry Christmassy kind of build, it does function as a normal family's home throughout the rest of the year. So even though they wouldn't necessarily be using a table and chairs outside during the winter, they would definitely utilize them in the summer as well. I also use some lamps out the front just to kind of emulate street lamps and things like that as well. Of course, I had to use the snowmen. You know, I felt like in a wintry build like this, it just made sense to use the snowmen. I didn't want to kind of go all out in terms of Christmas for this build. I wanted it to feel more wintry than Christmassy, but obviously, because in the northern hemisphere, I guess you could say, that would be accurate. But yeah, in the northern hemisphere, you know, winter and Christmas usually align effectively. So I kind of wanted to add in that little bit of a Christmas touch as tied in with the house. You know, there's the little Santas and the reindeer, but I didn't want to like cover the build with like Christmas presents or Christmas trees or anything like that. Just keep it more of a typical home, just with perhaps those few brief little Christmas touches. One of the things I quite liked, actually, I didn't realise until I did this, was the flower bed actually merged into the house a little bit, which I thought was kind of cool to get that kind of real closeness with those flower beds. I did want to utilise the round one, but in the end it just felt like that round one was a bit too big. So I just stuck with the long thin ones to sort of line the back of the house. I know most flowers don't survive during the winter, but I did want to have that kind of typical floral garden element to add in effectively. I do also use some of the trellises just to create almost a bit of privacy to the back garden. I was kind of thinking how, at least sort of for my houses growing up, we'd usually have some kind of like fenceway or gateway to the back garden, but obviously that would be kind of bordered off. Cat, will you please behave? Yeah, that would usually be kind of like fenced off so you couldn't see into the back garden for some privacy. I tried to do it on the left side, but then I realised it contrasted too much with the kind of like the metal wrought iron fence that I'd done around the edge of it. So I did decide to kind of remove that on the left side. I think if I'd have done the hedging all the way around the house, the wooden trellises wouldn't look so weird and out of place, and I would have kept it. But because of the fact that it did look a little bit out of place, a bit contrasting, I did end up removing them on the left side. I did add in a few foliage details, like a few trees, a few bushes, but I didn't go overboard in terms of this build. Just a few little touches to kind of, again, just feel quite natural in a sense. Like, I know the house that I grew up in as a very young kid before we moved, I mean, to be honest, the house I grew in when I was a little bit older kind of had like a tree hedge back, but certainly when I was growing up as a kid, we had a row of these trees which divided kind of our garden from our neighbour's garden. They did end up getting chopped down and a proper like fancy fence being put in, but yeah, we basically had a kind of like this lining of trees and this one in the corner, so I did want to include those as well. So yeah, there's just a few little foliage touches here and there. But that is the majority of the build. I will leave you in this video with a walkthrough at the end, which I do hope you enjoy. I do just want to say thank you very much for your time today. Thank you for watching the video. If you do enjoy it, don't forget to leave it a little thumbs up, and also subscribe to the channel for more Disney Dreamlight Valley content, because I promise you there is more still to come. But I do hope you enjoy this build, and I hope you have a wonderful day. And of course, to my subscribers and channel members, thank you for your support on this channel during this year. It really means a lot to me. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up here. Enjoy the walkthrough, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys!